Hometown Murder Tour is a true crime podcast for entertainment purposes only, assuming you find us entertaining.
That being said, stories of violence, sexual assault, and other criminal acts will be discussed, using adult language. Consider this your warning.
All right, I think
Going?
I think so.
Okay.
Hey guys!
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's early.
It's real early.
Yeah.
It's been...
Hi.
Hi.
Hometown Murder Tour,
Here
everyone.
we are. I'm Sarah.
I'm Amy.
We're pulling up to...
The Dancing Mule.
We haven't been here in a while.
No, we haven't.
So
But
let's...
it needs to happen.
It does.
The Dancing Mule. This is Hannah. What can I get started for you today?
Just 1 minute, please.
I have to
Alright,
think.
fine. Let me know if you have any questions.
Okay, thanks.
Honestly, I think I need just a water, which is super
It's funny,
lame.
they have a drink called Robert Palmer. Simply irresistible.
Nice.
Okay. What do you want?
Water?
Yeah.
All right.
I want a friggin'
Yeah.
coffee, but
Okay. Do you still have your lavender syrup?
Yes, we do.
Okay, I will have a 16-ounce honey lavender latte.
Okay, would you like that hot or ice?
Hot with skim milk, please.
Alrighty. And what else can I get for you?
a big ass water.
Large ice water, please.
Okay, a large ice water.
And that's it.
Alright. So I have a 16-ounce hot honey lavender latte with skim milk and a large ice water.
Yes.
Alrighty, if you'll close the window, we'll get that right out.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Here we are.
here we are. I don't know what we're supposed to talk about. This is, man, you guys. Okay, so I guess I could, yeah.
Good. How are you? I'm doing well. It'll be 6:22.
Okay, thank you.
Um,
Okay, so anything new in your world before we jump in?
you
need to
know,
talk
just
Went back to work.
went back to work,
It's
working,
exhausting.
being pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
tired.
I'm not pregnant, so I don't have that.
You're not.
excuse.
Yeah. I mean, I would have probably been just as tired.
$100 tip.
Yes, please.
That's what I thought.
$150 tip, actually, if you can.
I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
Sign up.
Sign that off. So
Okay.
yeah, I think really we don't have a whole lot going on that we need to address at the
Okay.
beginning of this. We can
Good.
jump right in.
Good.
We can leave, or we can talk about a review.
Yeah. Do a
We
review.
kind of like to do that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I know we do have some comments. Some people have left some comments on Podbean,
Okay.
and we will get to those. I just kind of forgot to pull them all up and
Yeah.
talk about them because that's where we're at this morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I am gonna go ahead and do another iTunes review.
All right.
So this one is a 5-star review. Ooh, from Cat Lady 04. So hey, Cat Lady. She says, amazing. I heard about this podcast from one of my many true crime related groups on Facebook. I started listening and cannot stop. I love listening as I'm working. The driving around while talking, great idea, and it's like you're there in the car. And seriously, how have I not heard of the Dancing Mule?
Oh well, that worked out
I
today.
know, right? Can't wait to try them. Thanks for the laughs and the deets. And then she put in parentheses, IDK. Like, I don't know. Which I love. Like, and then keep the laughs coming. You girls rock.
Well, thank
So,
you,
yeah,
Cat Lady.
that was awesome. Thanks, Cat Lady.
I
And
just sounded like Ethel Merman.
I know. What was that? Hey, Cat Lady. So we're just going to
thank
do
you.
our Ethel Merman impressions
Yes,
for a
from
while
now on.
until she takes
all the
the
murders.
receipt back, which we're just like waiting
know,
for that
waiting.
to happen.
The longest latte ever. It's that water. It threw 'em.
Guys, listen,
For a loop.
you get an ice water and
Thank you. All right.
Oh wow! Not kidding.
Thank
that
you.
is a big water.
Thank
you. I mean, I
Here's
said
your
big ass water. And it's a gallon of water.
They're like, oh yeah? You think you're funny saying
Think
big ass
you're funny,
water?
bitch?
Here you go. Here's a
So I just want to recommend the big ass water at Dancing Mule.
It is
You guys,
good.
it is worth the price.
Yep.
You get a lot of bang for your buck there. So,
Okay.
I don't even know what to do with this water right now. Like, where to put it.
Well, you know how I feel about the cup holder situation in this car.
Right.
My number one pet peeve of this car is the cup holders.
Like, I feel we need a commercial break just so I can figure out the water.
Plus, we've got a little bit of a trek.
Yeah.
So we'll
so
come back when we're closer to the site.
Our murder.
Nope.
It's not gonna work there. Our murder today is way west Springfield, and we'll kind of talk about that, I guess, when we get closer to the area.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna put a pin in that.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna take a jaunt all the way across Springfield, and I'm gonna figure out what to do with my water, and then we'll be back.
All right.
And we're back.
All right, so we are pulling into or off of I-44 going east.
So we had to go.
Well, we're essentially in Republic.
Right.
So don't get upset. This is still 417, people.
It is 417.
Mm-hmm.
Technically now Republic,
Yes,
but back
we're
then
Republic.
was not.
It was Brookline, actually.
Yes. So this is, I guess we can go ahead and say what we're doing.
Yes. This is a pretty cool one.
Yeah, we're going back in time. Gonna go back in time. To the early 1930s.
Mm-hmm.
So Depression era.
Yep.
HMT, or 417.
Depression area? What?
Depression era 417.
What's
Sorry,
happening?
I fucked that up.
That's all right.
Anyway, back in time, early 30s, we're going to cover
The Young Brothers Massacre.
Yeah.
Woo woo.
AKA the Brookline shootout.
Yeah.
So this is historical.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting,
It
really
is.
cool if you're into
I
that
dug
kind of
deep
thing.
on this one.
Yeah, you did. You got all up in there.
I did. I was avoiding housework and such, so it was a good distraction.
Yeah. Sorry, I have to
stuff.
research.
Yeah, sorry, research, guys.
Can't clean my toilets.
Nope.
So we are like super, super wet. If you don't know the area very well, this is Republic.
Yeah.
Is just kind of southwestish,
Sure.
a little bit, slightly, of Springfield.
Mm-hmm. And we're in a very rural portion.
Yes, I mean we are on just kind of a little country road right now.
And so,
Outer road off of I-44, which is
this is Farm Road 87 that we're turning on.
Yes.
So I was telling Amy earlier, and then she shut me down because we don't want to waste our conversations when we're not recording.
No, we're always like,
Stop talking.
Stop talking.
So, when I was doing the research and looking at trying to find the map, you cannot find the exact address because they've protected it for the current residents. But there have been some aerial shots of back then and now, so I felt legit like detective.
No, because I gave up. I was going to tell you, I tried to find the location and spent about 10 minutes on it, and I was like, well, fuck this. Like, I don't know what we're going to do.
Well, so I got current day Google satellite, the aerial shot from then, and like matching up. Like I wanted to print them out, put them on transparencies, light them up. Didn't have those resources.
Oh, that's awesome.
I finally figured it out. So here we go. We're going to turn, I guess I won't say this farm road.
Yeah. So we're like off of a farm road, onto another farm road.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of west of Springfield, north of 44. And we're just
figure it out yourselves. That was a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
People, I'm not giving away my shit.
Right.
All right, so here we go. I
It is
believe it's
farmland.
coming up on the left.
Okay.
So
Is this it?
I don't know if it's this one or the next one.
We'll see. It doesn't really look well.
No, but see from
It's
no,
not the
that's
barn.
it's not this
No.
one because in the current you can see dead grass or a
Okay.
different where the barn used to be. I don't think it's there anymore.
Because we'll talk about that. Probably tore
I
that
think
shit
it was there
down.
for a long time. I just think it was probably fell down.
Nope.
Okay. Ghost pulled it down. So I think it's up here.
Okay.
And it's off the road, so you can't.
Yeah, I saw one aerial view, and it's got a really long driveway
Yes.
that kind of goes way back.
Yeah. So.
Ooh, that place looks a little.
Haunted.
Scary.
Actually, I think that must have been it because I know this road curves and then it's
kind of
not.
done.
It's done. So
Okay.
let's go back. Let me turn around.
Is that it?
No, because it's a straight
Oh.
driveway.
Is that it?
No. That's not it either.
Is that cornfield it?
That's
right
it.
there?
Yeah. It is right through these. People have guns out here, so I'm afraid
Yeah,
to
they
turn around.
do. Actually, people have guns in town too.
Well, that's true.
So
Well, I mean, yeah.
you're allowed to do whatever the hell you want with a
Right.
gun in
And-
this state.
Well, and you're allowed to go into Walmart
Yep.
covered in guns and ammo.
Sure are.
That just happened.
You can thank your Missouri state legislators
Yeah.
for that,
Thanks, guys.
everyone.
That's awesome. Okay.
So that was it, probably.
I think it
Right?
was. Hard to tell because, again, my research was all... I went up in a helicopter
Yes.
and...
We got a drone.
and did some aerial...
Reconnaissance.
views. Oh, that's a good word. I wish I would have come up with it. All right. Okay, so we're going to come back down here.
Is that soy? What
I
is
think
this?
it's soy.
What's happening with that? We were passing cornfields, soy fields.
I'd like to think it's that house just because it looks haunted.
It looks super haunted.
I want to go in there.
I mean,
Okay, it's not that. I know. I saw that one. But it must be that one because it's the only one. Because I don't think it's on this side.
No.
I'm pretty sure it's this side.
and it is kind
But
of out.
in the most recent Google image, you can see where there was a barn and then there was a storage. So I
Okay.
think that's
Yeah.
might be it. I mean, they could have completely torn
And they've
it down
redone
and
it. Yeah.
So it could
Yeah.
be.
So either way, it's
And
like
see
out.
how there were trees down the driveway?
Yep.
Well, in the Google image, it went because it was
Yes.
like orchards,
Right.
so it had the line of trees. So I'm going with it was that one.
Let's do it.
Now, I'm going to show you this up here because this is actually right across the field, right there.
Uh-huh.
That is our relatives' farm, right here.
So they live right near.
Yep.
That's
And so
crazy.
they tell stories about how their barn was somehow
involved in
involved, although I did not find that in my research. So maybe it was, maybe that's urban legend, but see this barn right
it.
here?
Oh, wow.
We go in there and it is haunted AF,
That
people.
is so cool.
They talk about they would have these like work boots, cowboy boots. They'd put them on
Yeah.
a shelf and then they'd go back another time
They'd
and
be
it moved.
I love that stuff.
Yeah.
It's so creepy.
So,
Let's just go in the barn and do our podcast. Kidding.
did you see the roof on that
Yeah,
barn? We
I did.
might die.
What roof?
Well, exactly. But anyway, I mean, and what's really cool inside that barn are family. They had wineries back in Carbone, Italy, and they
nice.
have the barrels.
Oh, cool.
And they have a wine press in there.
What?
Yep, from the old country
That's amazing.
here in Republic, Missouri.
It's a nice house.
And see those grapevines?
Yes.
Those are the grapevines from Carbone. They brought over.
What?
Yep. Isn't that cool?
That's
I
amazing.
know. Sorry, family side note.
That's awesome.
Anyway, okay, so let's go back
So,
to. We're gonna go park up here.
yes.
Okay.
I think you found what, a lot?
Yeah.
Parking lot. We're gonna go find an abandoned lot to park in.
Yep.
To talk
sure it's
about
fine.
the Young Brothers Massacre.
Yep.
Also known as the Brookline Shootout, and it's a
Pew,
good
pew.
one. Pew, pew, pew.
That's what that sound like,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. All right.
Hold on. Okay.
Okay. Here we are.
Parked.
We are parked.
Let's get situated.
Our abandoned lot didn't work,
No, they
so we're
blocked it
just like
off.
we're at a gas station.
Yep.
People.
You know something about that abandoned lot? It's it used to be a Fenton milk glass.
Oh,
Which
really?
I,
You
have
love.
an obsession with. And of course, every time we would come out here to see family, I'd be like, we need to stop there. And then what happens? They close. Motherfuckers.
God damn it.
I think Mike arranged that.
Of course he did. You have
Yeah.
too much in
Yeah.
your house, so he was
You're
like,
going to shut it down.
shut this shit down.
Okay. Are we organized?
I think so.
Okay.
I had. Sorry, there was some extra stuff that
We don't want
that
extra.
No,
I worked hard on these notes.
I know you did.
For the first time.
They weren't good enough. So
Okay, wow.
I.
Welcome to my life.
Kidding. Okay.
Do you want me to start with background?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, background. So, our story involves the Young Brothers. There was Paul, Harry, and Jennings. I think that sounds like a boy band. How about you?
I think it does.
They kind of look like a boy band.
I really liked Paul. I think he was the cutest. He was kind of like
Oh, I think Jennings is the cutest.
Paul
Look
was
at those
like
eyes.
Paul. Oh yeah, I know. He actually had really pretty eyes. I think he was like the poet of the group.
Oh, of
you
course
know?
you would go that way. Jennings is clearly the bad boy, and that's why I like him. All right, anywho. They were already well known by law enforcement in Southwest Missouri, even in the 20s, as small time thieves.
Just like those young brothers.
Yeah, bad news bears.
Yep.
And they'd already, all three of them had served time at the Missouri Penitentiary or the Old Jeff.
Yes.
Also,
Old state pen.
side note, you know, when you go up towards Jefferson City, there's signs about going to the old penitentiary and you can do tours.
Yes.
We need to do that.
Let's do it.
Okay.
And record it.
Yes. That would be
Live.
so fun. Live.
Penitentiary tour.
And they have a haunted
Oh my
one.
God, let's do it.
Okay.
Right now.
Okay.
Guys, okay, we're
Bye.
going to pause.
Okay. So anyway, by the late 20s, the three had become household names. You know, this was kind of like, they called it the public enemy era, which I learned was they used it in the 30s to describe individuals whose activities were seen as criminal, damaging to society. But they've used the term for centuries, including for pirates, Vikings, highwaymen, bandits, mobsters. So basically outlaws. I mean, these guys were...
So the public enemy era is kind of like whenever you want it to be.
Yes. But for our purposes,
Yes.
it's in the 30s.
Late 20s, early 30s.
So they before the massacre, the brothers were considered nonviolent until Harry was an accomplice for a murder of Mark Noe, who was the city marshal of Republic. So that happened before the massacre happened.
Yes,
so
1929.
Yeah, he was pulled over for drunk driving, which I think is funny. I don't know. I just didn't think they did that back
I know.
then.
I feel like you just...
I mean,
were
in your Model
jalopy,
T, yeah.
Like you're...
Like
just like
chug,
with
chug,
your
chug,
jug
chug.
with like 3
I
X's
thought
on
it
it.
was,
Just like tipping
with your pinky.
Like with your pinky, just like glug, glug, glug.
Yeah.
Drive, drive, drive.
I mean, those cars you pretty much pedaled anyway.
Right.
How, it couldn't have been that bad. Anyway, so... So Harry and his 2 brothers then kind of disappeared, allegedly living under false names in Texas for 2.5 years.
Yes.
So apparently they established like this grand scale auto theft ring.
Yeah, they were known like
by the FBI.
Yes, as being this like huge, being involved in this huge auto theft.
Yeah.
And they would like transport cars from Texas to up through Missouri, and then they would get them over to Oklahoma, and it was like this huge...
I know. Which again, I'm just picturing these...
I know. I think like
Model
I'm making
Ts.
things way more old-timey than I need to be for like the early 30s, but still.
I mean, it was still old-timey.
Still old-timey.
So I say we reboot Grand Theft Auto
Right.
Model T version.
Model T version.
Yep. Everyone's going
amazing.
10 miles an hour.
Yep. Super slow. You have... Yeah.
It breaks down.
You hear that? Rockstar video games.
That's right. It's our idea.
It's our idea.
Okay, so anyway, apparently, as shitty as the young brothers are, they still really valued family.
Yep.
So they come back in 1931.
Like the end of the year, right?
Yeah.
It's like Christmas time. Like they needed,
they're like, oh, I'm homesick. I want to come home.
Knowing that they're like wanted.
Wanted.
Brother Harry just murdered he was an
He was
officer, a marshal.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, homesick,
Now
dumbasses.
there were, I read something about how I guess their father died earlier on, and Mama was kind of the only one at home. And there was one story, I can't even remember what it was on, like digging through so many old articles and blog posts and things like that. But at one point, I think Mom she always kind of defended them.
Yeah.
And never quite believed, or did believe, but never quite.
Right. Well, and when we get to the end, I mean, there was also a sister.
Right.
So.
A couple, yeah. But at one point, the police showed up. I think it was in between, like when the brothers went to Texas. Mm-hmm. They showed up to question or whatever and found some stolen merchandise.
Oh,
and Mom almost got arrested for it.
Yeah.
She was just like not going to admit.
Mm-hmm.
So Mom was kind of
Right.
covering
like all these fancy
or
rugs
in
and all that
denial
stuff.
or whatever. So they're mama's boys, I guess. And they just
Clearly.
wanted to come home for Christmas.
Come home for Christmas, Mama.
Yep, mama.
Oh, Mama. Okay, so then on January 2nd, 1932, Sheriff Marcel Hendricks of Greene County, Missouri, received reliable information indicating that the two young brothers were at the family's farm near Brookline.
Yes.
So that's where.
So here's what happened. So, I guess like a couple days before, so it was like December, like New Year's Eve or whatever. One of the sisters goes to a car dealer in Springfield and tries to sell a car.
Yeah.
And the car was not in her name. It was in the name of one of her brothers. It was super shady. She's like acting weird, and he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna. I can't do that. Like, this seems weird, and I'm not gonna be involved in whatever you have going on. We all know about the Young brothers.
Right.
We know who you are. Like, I'm not doing this. So she comes back again the next day and like has the title changed, which, I mean, DMVs back then were on it. Like, she goes on.
Yeah, we gotta wait 8 weeks to get in.
First of all, it was like the end of the year, so it's like December 31st. She was able to get in, get a title changed that day, and bring it back.
I'm gonna say
like,
she didn't actually do that.
Well,
she had her little pencil. At
she probably
home
did. Erased it because everything it wasn't printed back then.
They had no ink.
Right, no ink.
It's widely known there was no ink in the 20s and 30s.
No, it was an inkless time.
It was. It was a good time.
It was the Depression.
Things could just be erased.
We just right.
Yep.
So anyway, she comes back the next day after getting the title changed to her name. And the car dealer's like, listen, it's New Year's Day. Banks are going to be closed. I can't do this. So she comes back again then on January 2nd. So this is the day that all of this goes down.
Yeah.
She's actually coming back for a third date, which, like, take the fucking hint. Like, this is not going to work. And that's when the dealer actually had called the police.
Yeah.
And so the police were waiting there when she showed up. And so they question her, they take her in, and then I guess she admits, my brothers are home. Like, they're here. So that was like the tip that they got. So
way to go, sister.
Way to go, sis. Fucked it up.
So they found out that he was there. So Hendricks, the sheriff, quickly assembled a posse. I love the
a
we need
posse.
to use that more often
Let's
when we're
get a
talking
posse.
about law enforcement,
Right?
And set out for the farm. The 10 police officers and 1 civilian, which I just love. Hey, dude, can I come?
Yeah, you can. Come on.
Sure, come
you
on.
You want to get in on this?
Yeah.
Yep.
They went to arrest the Young brothers. This is what the article said, by today's standards, woefully unprepared for the job. They carried no weapons other than handguns.
Yep.
And most of them had no spare ammunition.
Yeah, like no backup bullets, only handguns.
Super well planned out.
Yeah. And we'll get to that. This wasn't really, nowadays, this seems crazy. Like, you're never going to go into a situation like this unprepared, but this, we'll get to that. But, yeah.
Quit ruining it, Amy.
I'm sorry.
All right. You want to jump into the event?
Sure. So, what happens then, the police, and the 1 civilian, Joe the plumber, they arrive and they get in the front yard. They yell for the brothers to come out. So just like, hey guys, we're here. You're busted.
Put your hands up.
Right? Police. Right? So they receive no response. But one of the officers at the time says he heard someone kind of moving around inside. So the names,
because they were wearing tap shoes.
Right? Yes.
I mean, how do you
Hello,
hear that?
my baby.
Hello, my
darling. Yeah. So, do we want to read all their names?
Well, I think
we
we should.
Agreed. So, Sheriff Marcel Hendricks, deputies Ollie Crosswhite and Wiley Mashburn, which these are like the old-timeyest names that ever old-timeyed.
Yeah.
Right? Springfield Police Detectives Tony Oliver, Sid Meadows, and Owen Brown, City Patrolman Charles Hauser, Detectives Frank Pike and Virgil Johnson, and Officer Ben Bilyeu. Civilian Ralph E. Wegman tagged along. So those are their names.
That's the posse.
That's the posse that's there. So one of the deputies then said he heard someone tap dancing around. The sheriff, the guy in charge, Sheriff Hendricks, he goes ahead and he orders for tear gas to be fired into the house So they like bust a window and fire one round or one canister of tear gas, and nothing really happened. So they didn't really hear anything. Nobody came running out of the house. Nothing goes on. So at that point, the Sheriff Hendricks, and his deputy sheriff, Wiley Mashburn, they decide to go ahead and go in. I did read somewhere too that the sheriff didn't think it was going to go bad because he kind of knew the family.
Yeah.
He lived nearby.
Right.
And again, this was kind of a different time. He figured he could just like go in,
hey,
talk to them,
yeah,
like, come on, boys.
Right.
The jig is up. Like, let's go in.
Right.
And that is not what happened.
Nope.
AKA massacre in the name of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
dead giveaway. Pun intended.
So, the sheriff and his deputy, they go ahead and they head in. They bust in the door and enter the back of the home through the back door there. So as soon as they go in, 2 people, one armed with a 12-gauge shotgun, the other one with a rifle, they start firing. It says here that it's not clear who was in the house technically, but I mean, everybody knows it's going to be and that comes into play later when they locate. But so we're going to go ahead and say it. Two brothers are inside, and they shoot the sheriff and his deputy, and the sheriff kind of falls immediately. The poor deputy, did you read some of those other, I mean, it's pretty,
like, he didn't die immediately, he tried to get away.
He was shot with the shotgun, and it talked about how he blew off his face, blew out his eyes, and so he's just like stumbling outside, falls. It was horrible, like awful, and I don't think he died until like that evening, like horrific. So at that point, then the officers that are all outside, they begin shooting into the windows, while those inside, the brothers, they continue to just kind of start picking them off and firing from inside the house. I also read these are like farm boys. Right. They hunted. They knew how to do, like, they were
sharpshooters.
Yes, they were sniping them at one point. Just like they knew what they were doing for sure. Another 3 officers, Tony Oliver, Sid Meadows, and Charles Hauser, were quickly gunned down. The surviving policemen, who are now out of ammunition because they brought no backup bullets, and they just have handguns again, they're pinned down. They have nothing. They can't do anything. So they're they're forced to basically leave their dead comrades, like these people that they fought with, and they have to run away. So it talked about some of them had to like zigzag through like trees to try to make it to a side road to get to another area. Because it was an
orchard, I think, at the time, on part of the land.
Yes. And then others, I think they did get back in the car and then haul out of there. But if the couple of them couldn't make it to the car, so they had to just like take off through the field and try to get out of there. Officer Crosswhite, this was horrible. Officer Crosswhite was still alive and uninjured, crouching behind a storm cellar at the rear of the house, but he's out of bullets. He has no ammunition, nothing. He can't do anything. So once the suspects inside the house became aware of his presence, one of them pinned him down with rifle fire, while the other crept up behind him and killed him with a shotgun blast to the back of the head.
Yep.
What the fuck?
They were not
horrible.
Gonna.
I mean, this is like no holds barred, like just out. Yeah. So at this point, the officers that were able to get out of there in the car and get back to Springfield quickly immediately go and they start gathering more troops, right, to head back to the Young brothers' home, to the Young home farmhouse. And during that time, like while they're gathering people, then the killers, they take all the money off of the dead, they take their weapons, and they get the hell out of there. So, yeah.
So a national manhunt immediately commenced. Obviously, I copy and pasted that word because I don't talk like
immediately commenced.
And the Young brothers were quickly tracked down to a rented room in Houston, Texas. So, they'd been living in Texas. So they are back at this house, in this room. They show a picture of this house. I mean, it's just like a bungalow house, and they're just renting one room.
And this immediately blows us. So this was the 2nd of January. And there's 3 days? before they're found. So in that 3 days, like newspapers,
Oh, it's
like
all
it's
over
all over
national news.
This was like the worst.
It was the biggest manhunt in Texas.
Yes.
Ever.
And the biggest, what do we want to call it?
Well,
I can't think
have
of the words. I know.
It was
the country's worst massacre of lawmen.
Yes.
At the time. So this was huge. This was not just local police shootout. Like this was national. No case like this had ever happened. No incident had happened like this across the country. So this was known. So I mean, they knew about it in Texas. They knew who these young brothers were because they were living in Texas.
Right.
So it was.
So the landlord is the one that actually was like,
right.
Hey,
they're back home. Operator.
Get me the police.
Give me the police.
So so the Houston police officers entered the home on January 5th and discovered the brothers had retreated to the bathroom. So they go down there, they find them, they enter the home, and the two brothers are like locked themselves in the bathroom.
Third brother?
He's not involved in this.
So he just like, I tried to look up some stuff on him.
Yeah.
So
Paul's not involved in this.
Paul's not involved in any of this.
Well,
so,
we'll get to that.
Okay, all right.
So
you did better research than I did.
Well,
anyway,
for the one time I've done it in the 6 months. So of course they called for the men to surrender and were immediately met with gunfire.
Of course, that's like how they do. Assholes.
MO. So after the officers returned fire, there was a period of silence, and then several shots were heard
from the bathroom.
Yep. And are you ready for this? A voice called out, "We're dead. Come on in."
I love that. Like,
that is the best line.
So just like,
they already knew a movie was going to be made of them, right? So we're like, we're going to give them some lines.
Listen, before we do this, we need to have a good, like, we're going out phrase.
Like, I'm your Huckleberry. Well, this was, we're dead. Come on in.
I love it.
I know. So when the officers went in, they found Jennings Young dead, and Harry Young mortally wounded from multiple gunshot wounds. The guns taken from the murdered lawmen. So back in Brookline, they found them all around their bodies. So they had the stolen.
So it was them. Like it was.
Yes.
No one the police officers who were there, who saw them, didn't survive.
Right.
And the others who were outside of the home. So technically, there was no eyewitnesses, but obviously they had all the weapons,
right, and all
from the
stuff. So, a Springfield mortician. That's not me, is it?
I don't think so.
Really loud ringing. Sorry. Springfield mortician W.L. Starn drove down for the bodies, but onlookers at the gas station spied the Missouri plates and rushed the hearse to get a glimpse of the cadavers.
Isn't this crazy? Like, people just mobbed shit back then.
Yeah.
Remember when we talked about the Baby Keat thing?
Yeah.
How they just like, hey, sheriff, we're going to take the guy. Like, that just happened back then.
Yes.
So, like, you saw Missouri plates, you saw coroner or mortician
such
with
a
the
big
hearse.
story, like, hey, we're going to go.
That's got to be them. Missouri plates, hearse.
Let's get in
Young
there.
Brothers, let's bust, like, let's just take the body? Like, what?
And so the mortician, which cracks me up, he removes the door handles so they can't open the doors.
People, I got to get this body across, so, like, no door handles for you. Yep. You just can't get in.
No. And so he got as far as Muskogee, Oklahoma, when Springfield official told him to stay away until residents calm the fuck down.
Like, people in Springfield know now that this thing's on its way. Like, they're waiting. City limits. Like, just with pitchforks and torches.
But they're already dead, so they just want to see.
They just want to see.
So he kept driving between Veneta, Oklahoma to Pittsburgh, Kansas. And I guess that's where he ultimately stored the cadavers.
I know. So he's just, like, driving around with the dead young brothers.
Yep.
For a while.
Yeah.
Just because, like,
kind of like where...
Because people want to see him so bad that he has to...
So ultimately, though, there was such a huge riot and everything from Springfield. They're like, don't bring those fuckers back here.
Yeah, people were, we do not want them in our town. We don't want them buried here. We want nothing to do with it.
So they're actually buried in Joplin.
Sorry, Joplin. We like dump our shit.
Yep.
Sorry.
So many times. So the coroner's office in Houston concluded that the brothers had shot each other in a suicide pact to avoid capture. So if you're wondering how they got shot, they shot each other.
Right. We're dead.
Yeah.
Come on in.
But there is some controversy on that too, because they do suspect that it could have been officers involved that had actually fired the fatal shots, but, you know, conspiracy. In all likelihood, it points to they killed each other.
I think it's a better story.
It's way better. They knew what they were doing with that line.
Oh, man.
They're like, suicide, we're going to say this.
Yep. Who's going to say it? You're going to say it? Or I'm going to say it? Do you want me to say it? Or I guess whichever one of us
says it first.
What if we die immediately? Should we say it first?
Let's say it first.
Yeah, and then shoot.
And then shoot.
Right.
But
on 3.
On 3 or after 3?
Oh, shit.
Are we going to 1, 2, 3 shoot?
Do you want to just rock, paper, scissors and decide who shoots first?
But then if you shoot, then it has to be at the exact same time.
This is difficult.
We did not think this out.
We did not think this out.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, guys. That was a reenactment of what actually happened.
And scene.
Thank you. Welcome.
Okay. All right, go.
All right, so in conclusion...
Now I want costumes.
I know, right? So this was the country's worst massacre of lawmen until the September 11th, 2001 terrorist attack. So, single worst, single event.
Right.
Lawmen, the most, I can't even talk.
Most
lawmen killed in a single event until September 11th. And I tried to look up, I think it still may be, and if you have a correction later, or if you figure it out, we'll have a Nana Knows segment.
Oh, Nana, look it up, please.
I think it's still, to this day, the single worst shooting event against lawmen. Fatalities, I think. And I might be off. There's a lot that are really close.
I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
Yeah,
it is.
So, yes. I really think so. I couldn't find a whole lot. But again, my research on this consisted of me searching for something for about 5 minutes and then I gave up.
Yeah, I get it.
But I don't think that there's been any single shooting event that's past this. So it's still kind of up there as far as being a pretty big deal.
Congratulations.
Yay, Springfield. Mm-hmm. We're on the map again.
Yep.
So, the Young Brothers Massacre was one of the events that persuaded law enforcement in the U.S. to take a more professional approach and to be more cautious when they get into these standoff situations, especially people who have had violence towards police officers before. Like the guy, was it Harry? Yes. Harry had killed an officer a couple years prior to that. So knowing that and then going into that situation.
So this event changed
how we deal with that.
How law enforcement deals with basically violent criminals.
So it was easy for us to say, what do you mean you just brought handguns and not back up? It was just,
they know nothing
wasn't a thing.
Like this. Yeah.
Right. So after this sort of, they rewrote the book, basically, on how we do this.
And let me just interject real quick. So one of the resources that, I didn't read the thing cover to cover, but so there was a book that came out that was written
for police officers,
for law enforcement, based on this. It's called The Young Brothers Massacre. And you cannot find a print copy anymore, but you can find it digitally, and I'll put that information out there.
We have a lot of links for you guys.
We do. I mean, it's amazing what a little research will do.
But it says on there, written and illustrated especially for law enforcement officers.
Yep. So now you can find a print copy at the library, I think, or there's private collectors that have it, but otherwise it has been digitized, so you can see it. But it's just interesting. It's very, what's the word I want? It's written as a story, per se. Like someone's language, because they're using ain't and those kind of things, but also then it kind of gives insights into this is how it went down and this is how it should have gone down and that kind of thing. It was pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
But also horribly written.
Right. There is a monument. Actually, there's 2, I think.
Oh.
There's a monument that has the 6 slain officers in front of there's one in front of the police headquarters here in Springfield, and there's also another one in front of the Greene County Courts building. Oh. So there's 2 monuments.
And those weren't put up until somewhat recently.
Right.
In the last 10 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I knew that wasn't done.
I want to say
right
2013,
afterwards. But so if you go to the Greene County Court building or the police headquarters, right outside there is a monument at both places for these officers.
Yeah.
So that kind of sums it up. As far as kind of how it started, what happened, how it ended. There's a little bit of extra, like,
we got some extra info
stuff in there.
So I found on a website called, did I put it in here?
There was a Haunted Missouri. I found some stuff on American Hauntings.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
American Hauntings.
Huge, and they go into a ton of detail about the incident also.
The whole incident,
like,
but I just went straight to the haunted part. So,
American Hauntings.
According to owners that lived in the farmhouse afterwards, which, no.
You would just think, I don't know, like, a lot of times nowadays they demolish.
Yes.
But back then, again, it hadn't happened. It was probably
just, let's clean it up.
Well, did she just still live there? Like, did Mama Young still hanging out, like, with the sisters?
Down? I might have written that down. Maybe we should talk about that first.
Oh, it says here they moved out of the house.
Oh, okay. But the part about the mom and the two sisters after this.
Oh, no.
That they were arrested. And
for this?
No. Well, they were arrested to see what they knew, but ultimately they were convicted of, I think it was called the Avery Act. And it had something to do with, like, trafficking stolen cars.
Okay, so they got busted on the car shit.
Right. Yeah, but
at the end of the day,
ultimately it happened. Right. But they also, you know, in this in that law enforcement book, there's why am I missing some of my stuff? I don't know. I'll do it by memory.
Child screaming?
Yes, there is.
Oh, okay.
So
it's a ghost.
Ooh. So where was I going?
Haunted.
The mom. No, before Haunted. Oh, conspiracy.
Oh. Ooh.
So there is, in the back of that law enforcement book, there's some different parts about like questioning what actually happened, because when they investigated the scene afterwards, they thought there was no way two men
really
could have shot all those guns.
Okay.
So there's theories that maybe the other brother was there, or they had a crew there or something.
Mom
to be able to,
whoever
shoot all those officers and all of that ammunition, because they're like, there was two of them.
Right.
And like how many gun shells were left and all of this, they're like, just not possible.
Wow.
So that's interesting.
Conspiracy.
I thought I put that in here somewhere, but
interesting.
I failed.
God, Sarah.
I can't do anything right. All right, now we can talk about the haunted.
The ghosts.
Yeah. So, anyway, the people that moved in the house afterwards would report strange happenings that took place not long after the family Young moved out. So the house obviously was repaired, and the damage from the bullet holes and such were covered up.
Can you just put some plaster over it?
Yeah. Yes.
Hang a picture over it. It's fine.
It had really random, like there was a picture down here at the floorboard. The house it reminds me of a Friends episode. Are you a Friends fan?
Yeah.
So Monica, a light switch, she couldn't figure out what the light switch did, so she kept poking holes in the wall. Anyway, sorry. They would experience bizarre temperature drops were common in the house, and knocking and banging sounds on the walls, thudding footsteps in empty rooms, voices and music that seemed to come from nowhere. I think that might be the creepiest, like music.
Oh God, can you imagine, like old timey,
like
Victrola is what I picture, even though it was the fucking like they had record players.
They had nothing.
Candles would just turn on.
They didn't even have ink. For God's sake. And just, feeling like they were being watched and so forth.
Wasn't there? Oh yeah. So at one point, a woman who lived in the house said she saw faces in the window.
Nope.
When they would look into it, no one was ever there. There was one night when I guess it was winter. There was snow on the ground, and a man in an old-fashioned fedora type hat had been looking in the window. What? Can you imagine?
No.
And then, so her husband goes outside to look, which, no. Close the curtains and never go outside.
Exactly.
It's like looking in your house.
People do it wrong.
I know. Anyway, he didn't find anybody, and there's no footprints. So
And
just
it's
like
snowy
weird,
out.
it's snowy, weird shit like that. This one,
Yes.
hell
the
no.
So, on several occasions, a woman who once lived in the house stated that she had awakened on several occasions to find a dark figure standing at the end of her bed.
No.
Nope. When she tried to move, the figure grabbed hold of her legs and wouldn't allow her to move.
No.
Then he vanished and she was free. She later said that she would have believed that she dreamed the entire incident if not for the fact that she woke the next morning to find dark bruises on her legs that looked exactly like handprints.
No.
All the nose.
Get the fuck out of that house.
Immediately for sale.
Not even
Burn
sell
it down.
Burn it
down.
Well, I'm not even going to sell it. We're just moving and moving our shit. Somebody can find
I will be homeless.
Yeah.
Ugh.
With my bruised legs
Yep.
from Ghost Guy. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's some haunted stuff.
There's a lot of cool stuff.
There's a lot of stuff about
Guys,
this.
go check it out.
We have
Several sources
that we're gonna share with you guys because some of it is really cool.
Yeah.
Or fun to listen to.
So one of them I watched. It's from PBS, the Ozarks Watch Video Magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Interviews the writer of "We're Dead, Come On In," and his name's Bruce Davis. So we'll get the link out for that for you to listen. It's about 27 minutes long. The Young Brothers Massacre, which we talked about.
We'll link that. The police written for police officers.
Yes, and it at one point in that book at the very end is they consult an expert. And this guy is scathing. Like, he is not holding back. And so, you guys fucked this up.
Right.
You're horrible cops. This is not how it's done.
Right.
It was kind of...
Which is who the hell are you? This is after the fact. It's
he wouldn't even put his name in it.
Of course not. Yeah.
Pussy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Actually, I changed that. You're just a ball sack.
Exactly.
We all know that.
We know you're a ball sack.
Yeah. There's also a book called Young Brothers Massacre by Paul Barrett.
A docudrama, which was just released, right? August, fairly recently?
I don't know. It says of this year, but that's the article I saw.
Or is that when it was on Prime? Maybe it's been around.
I don't know.
Anyway, it's on Prime, people.
Yeah, check it out.
It's called "Come On In, We're Dead."
Of course it is, because those brothers knew what they were doing.
They're like, listen, we want docudramas, we want books written about it. We
don't know
need
what
a line.
docudramas are yet, but we want it.
Yes.
And then, so for the locals, you guys all know of Nick Rule and Ned the Band. That's been around for years. So, Rule, Chapel, and it's Chapel Lock Publishing, they made a whole album of songs about this story.
And it starts from the beginning. The first song is about when, is it Harry? Mm-hmm. Gets stopped for drunk driving. Yeah. And so it tells a story. Yeah. The whole album tells the whole story. It's cool. Bluegrassy. Yeah. Folk kind of bluegrass music. But we'll link that too because it's if you like that kind of music, it's pretty good. And now you know the story behind it.
Yep. And so that's that. And
you have to talk about this.
Okay, so of course it was national news, and they had on the interwebs they had all the old newspaper clippings and whatever. But so this one headline just got me. I don't even understand it. Well, please explain it.
Yeah. Well, first it said huge 6 officers slain by fugitives who escape trap at mother's home. Right. So that's normal. Yeah. And then the
whole subtitle is house that belched death to 6. What?
House that belched death to 6.
Dead.
The house belched death.
I mean, someone was reaching if they think that was.
Listen, it was their first job. They got their little press card to put in their hat,
visor,
in their little hat, and they were real excited. And they got to cover this big story.
Let me get my thesaurus out.
Right? How lyrical can I be? Let's see. Well, we've got this picture of a house.
And it belched.
It belched.
It burped, and then it killed 6 people.
Burped death at them. What?
Well, excuse you.
Oh, well, pardon me, operator. Anyway.
So that's that. Okay.
So hey, yeah, Young Brothers Massacre in our own backyard, people.
It was pretty
Again,
cool.
Springfield.
Way to go.
We got this.
You know, I mean, when we started this little adventure, I was thinking, we're not going to have enough to talk about. Like, there's not going to be enough murders. There's not going to be enough crime.
Apparently.
I was so wrong.
Right?
Yep.
And not just murders, but this is one that's like,
Known. Famous.
There's been no other
Right.
horrific mass shootings of police officers in the country since then, like, but not in Springfield.
No.
Like,
I will say they mentioned the guy that did the PBS thing that wrote the book. He mentioned that it was like the next week is when the Lindbergh baby thing happened. So then it did it was out of the news like that.
Right.
So it was like in the news and then completely gone, never
Well,
talked
yeah.
about again.
Right.
So it just kind of dropped off.
Huh. And there's a lot of people who don't, like, I didn't know I knew there was some type of historical police shooting thing, but I didn't know all of this until
I didn't know
really
all of it
started
either.
looking.
All I knew was what our family members who live in the area, and we just went by their farm, like, oh yeah, these law enforcement guys were killed close by. And
Right.
Like, oh.
I knew there was some, like, Republic, Missouri shooting thing, but I had no idea that it was this crazy, this interesting. And all these books have been written about it, and songs and docudramas and whatnot. So,
all right, guys, get into it.
yeah. Let's see here.
What do we got?
Hometown Murder Tour Podcast. You can email us if you so choose
417
at gmail.com.
What was I watching in a show? Sorry, I've got lots of side stories today. But he said Gmail. At Gmail.
At
and
Gmail.
the other person goes, Gmail? He's like, oh, is that how you say it?
Is that how you say it? It's like GIF or GIF.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can
Gmail us.
Gmail us at our Gmail, 417hmt at gmail.com. We're on Twitter at Murder Tour.
Instagram at Hometown Murder Tour.
Yes.
Yes.
And you can listen to us at a lot of places.
Yeah, we're not going to list them because we don't even know.
We don't even know.
But we are on Spotify now.
We are on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, of course, and then a bunch of other places where you find us. So
and guys, share it with your friends.
Share, please review. I don't know how to get reviews on Spotify or if that's even a thing.
We're gonna figure it out.
We're gonna figure that out. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye.